World Financial Group offers entrepreneurs from all backgrounds the opportunity to start their own business on a level playing field. Dr. Yana Woodhouse, receiving the WCM Wall Street Pioneer Award by the United Black Wall Street of America, Inc., is one of those entrepreneurs.
I see WFG and TFA as a place where African Americans with an entrepreneurial mindset can flourish. And the bonus, we help families and serve the communities across the country.
To learn more about us, go to worldfinancialgroup.com.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward-thinking. We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live.
This is a reminder.
We want nothing but an equal chance and options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man.
This is a reminder.
We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.
Live from Soul City, Good Morning Community. Good Morning Community is a platform where members of the community can find out more about small businesses, authors, artists, events, entrepreneurs, members of the community, and community-based organizations. Also, how to get involved, how to connect online, volunteer, or donate, as well as some of the resources and services they provide. At Good Morning Community, we offer encouragement, share resources. We encourage you to hold yourself accountable, and most importantly, we genuinely want to see you win. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. I am the CEO of Eartha Tone Books, publisher of Love Changes, Graffiti, Mural, and A Planner is a Girl's Best Friend, as well as freelance writer, editor, and PR writer and affiliate for blackpr.com, executive editor for Harlem World Magazine, and a longtime member of the Harlem Writers Guild. Now, I like to say May is the official launch of book season. We are now in June. So book season is definitely hot and popping. We have the Schomburg Literary Festival coming up for Juneteenth weekend, the weekend before Juneteenth, and it's going to be at the Schomburg Library, and I will be present, and I will be vending there with the Harlem Writers Guild. You can visit the Harlem Writers Guild's website at www.theharlemwritersguild.org to find out more about the Harlem Writers Guild and some of the phenomenal things and members that have come through the Harlem Writers Guild since it was founded in 1950. Now, the Harlem Writers Guild recently celebrated our 75th anniversary, and our 75th anniversary also coincides with the 100th year anniversary of the Schomburg Center. So we are happy to be participating for this Schomburg Literary Festival, and it is going to be huge from what I expect. All up and down 135th Street, stretched from Lenox Avenue to Adam Clayton Powell. There will be books, food, vendors, authors, publishers, music, just one huge big party, block party, book author signing, book launch. It's all happening all on the Strip with author discussions happening within the Schomburg Library itself. So I encourage you, anyone who loves books, to come out, enjoy, explore, meet the people who are writing books, and bring your questions and bring some cash so you can purchase some books, or Cash App or Zelle, however you choose to purchase. But definitely meet the people who are dedicating themselves to bring books to the Harlem community, books to the New York City community, to New York State, the world. They will be on the strip. And we even have some booksellers coming in from out of town. So I encourage everyone to just drop in and drop by. Um, I remember my very, very, very first book event, which was actually um, the Brooklyn Book Festival, and I was invited by Miss Grace F. Edwards, who was my mentor and my editor. And I must have been, I'm gonna say, 2 weeks a member of the Harlem Writers Guild when I was invited to vend with Grace at the Brooklyn Book Expo with my book, right? And it was just a prototype of the book, but she invited me down to just kind of um, enjoy the experience and get familiar. And I was sitting next to Grace, like, oh wow, I can't believe I'm here. So I was ecstatic, just sitting there with Grace and my little prototype of the handout or whatever it was I was demonstrating that day. And I watched Grace maneuver like a pro while I was just, shy and looking for a moment to just talk about the book itself, my book that was still in edit at the time, it was in the edit stage. And I watched Grace just embrace the community, and the community of writers just embraced Grace. Some were her students, some were fans of her work, her books, and Grace has the Molly Anderson mystery series. And her books are phenomenal, and she just has a way of just bringing story to life, and she inspired us all, who she mentored. We're all inspired by just how she lived out her example through her work and how dedicated she was to cultivating new talent, other writers, and keeping us motivated and encouraged, because that's important. The funny thing I tend to say about writing versus being an author is that in your writing fantasy, there's never the 100-pound suitcase full of books. You envision this book and it sells and it's on the New York Times bestsellers list, but you never envision wheeling that suitcase, bringing it up the stairs, or tossing it in the back of a trunk of a car. And books are heavy. There are digital books, but readers who are most passionate about books and more passionate about the art love to feel the physical book, and they love the feel of flipping pages. It's nothing like scrolling and flipping pages is two different aesthetics. It's you love a book, you love a book. And digital, yeah, you get the gist of it and you get this similar experience in absorbing the story, but flipping those pages really speaks to you. So I encourage all of you who love books to, again, come down to the Schomburg Literary Arts Festival, which will be Saturday, and it'll be all day from 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. And I can tell you for sure, we're expecting me, myself, Eartha Watts Hicks, author Judy C. Andrews, author Mark W. Polite, author Diane Richards, and several members from the Harlem Writers Guild, in addition to those that I know for a fact I can expect. My novel, Love Changes, was published a number of years ago by me. It was designed and published by me. And this is what I call my book baby, Love Changes. And this cover is like the probably third or the fourth iteration. I've done several variations of the book to help it sell. They say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but people do judge a book by its cover. And this cover actually sold better than my original cover, which was artwork. And like I said, readers love a good book, and it's the cover that captures them. So yeah, this was like the latest iteration of Love Changes, and this one, which is my next, which is a collection of poetry, short stories, and personal essays, is called Graffiti Mural. Um, and I was inspired by one by Prince and Graffiti Bridge, but just the fact that I was an aspiring songwriter who also wrote poetry, who also wrote prose. I had so many different writing pieces that kind of needed to get out of my head and put them somewhere so that I could move on to the next idea or the next thing. And that's what Graffiti Mural was at first. It was, where do I put these ideas in the meantime? They're all stories. I need to do something. Um, and one of my fondest memories is that um, the book had sold. I was like number 26 on the Amazon chart, and I didn't even advertise. And I was like, well, darn, now I got to start advertising. I just kind of wanted to just get it out there and to do something to get it moving. I had no idea that it was going to start selling that fast, and that's what happened. But Graffiti Mural, I said, like, again, is a collection of poetry, short stories, and personal essays. And it's funny, Harry Belafonte was a member of the Harlem Writers Guild as well. And I have a story in here about a strange connection to Harry Belafonte, though I never met him. Not even as part of the Harlem Writers Guild had I ever met Mr. Belafonte. But I would like to read one quick little excerpt that brings back a pleasant memory. And this is an excerpt from Graffiti Mural. I was 10 years old during the summer of 1981 when I flew to Chicago on a vacation with my Nana. We stayed with her sister, Yunora, who lived on the South Side. That's where I'd met my cousin, Michonne, the movie star, who was 2 years older than me. She had a minor role in the Marva Collins story portraying Cecily Tyson's daughter, but she was the biggest star in the world to me because she was my cousin. That summer, my cousin gave me the gift of rhythm. My two left feet learned how to do the gigolo to Earth, Wind, and Fire's Let's Groove. I learned how to do the pop, the precursor to the electric boogie, to the song Numbers by Kraftwerk. And I was never a wallflower again after that. In 1983, though, I remember staring out my window to watch the neighbor boys dance. I lived in Mitchell houses in the very same building and on the very same floor where DJ producer for the Force MCs at the time, resided, the 10th floor. The loud music I most often overheard, though, was almost always from outside. My building was also the same building where the Beat Street Breakers perfected their routines every chance they could get. They were always spinning around on the ground floor right outside my window, and they all knew my name because I went to the corner store often. And every time I did, I first stand in the doorway of the building and say, "Excuse me, can you please move your mat?" I was referring to a huge slab of cardboard they had pieced together to fit perfectly in the landing in front of our doorway. That was what they would spin on. And they would pause their boombox, which would more than likely be blaring beatbox by the Art of Noise. Then one of them would grab their mat, pick it up, and step aside. And the rest of them would watch me walk down the ramp. They were respectful. Hood boys enjoy sister girl sass when the weather's warm and shorts are short. I happen to have cute girlfriends who happen to wear short shorts. Me and my sister girlfriends had a ball watching Harry Belafonte presents Beach Street. Harry Belafonte did what the producers of the Marva Collins story did. He recruited neighborhood kids for the film. I love being able to point out the dancers in the crew and name them one by one. From watching them just outside my 10th floor window, I knew which ones just popped, which ones were only breakers, which ones did both, and who did the best up rock, and also who did the best windmill. Rule of thumb, if they were Puerto Rican, they were usually better at breaking and the up rock. If they were black, they were usually better at the electric boogie, backslide popping, and pop locking. The star from our neighborhood was a talented brown skinned breaker, and he too was Puerto Rican. The truth is, I only went to see that movie so I could go see all of them on a giant screen. Knowing them and what they were doing in its own little way, it made me feel important. I myself was later cast in a breakdance movie. It was supposed to be called Wild Style 85. The film was canceled though before a scene was ever filmed. And that particular story is called Hollywood in the Hood. And Graffiti Mural, which is my collection of poetry, short stories, and personal essays, was my way of capturing some of those memories and the lessons in the memories. Um, just like I remember those boys outside breakdancing, and then I also remember them learning how to break dance and improving at breakdance, and just watching them from my window taught me that it took the right amount of discipline to master something. So when it came to me and my writing, I wasn't always the best writer, but I kept practicing and kept practicing and kept practicing until my command of the language became second nature. And it was the same thing with them. They would practice those moves and practice those head spins and practice their stop on a dime and do their pose midair, feet up in the air. And I would watch them. I would watch them from my window. I had like a different angle of them with the breakdance moves, and it was just so amazing to me that that they were taking the time and the discipline and needed to put in to develop and perfect those moves. And these were kids, and I was wondering, well, where did they get that from? Where did that desire to just practice and do it and practice and do it and practice and do it come from? They had no coach. They were just kids outside by themselves, forcing themselves to master the moves and getting upset when they failed at the move. And they had a discipline and a determination at 15, 16, 17 years old that would later inspire me when I wanted to become a writer, just remembering that, okay, if you want to do this, you need to master this. If you need to master this and want to master this, you have to put in the time commitment. You have to dedicate yourself and do it over and over and over and over and over until you get better, until you do your best. So that was a powerful lesson for me. Graffiti Mural, my off the wall collection of poetry, flash fiction, and personal essays is filled with similar stories, and it's also filled with poetry, short stories, and personal essays. So I will read a poem. This one is called Your Own Way. It's one of my favorites too. Pick your passion. Stick needles in sick kids. Massage spices into lamb. Make music bubble up and burst. Go. Satisfy your Jones. Bruise your body and your ego. Play games, kick game, or shoot game. The choice is yours. Scream your secrets. Be your dream. Drown your misery in chlorine. Write or read, or write to read until split infinitives and dangling participles leave you hanging, breathless. Then come back from that. Take a nap. Wake up to makeup. Beat your face. Race, skate, fly. Paint the town. Punch a bag or fix cars. Paint the clouds and some happy trees. Plant a tree. Watch the stars. Name a star. Be. Positivity. Switch your new do to one you wouldn't usually do. Whatever it takes to ensure your Jones is completely satisfied, you do it all the way. Just keep doing you your own way. So, yeah, your own way is my ode to our creative gifts and our talents and what we're passionate about. And I wrote that in Graffiti Mural 2. Whole collection is on sale. It's on sale on Amazon all the time. But if you meet me on 125th Street, you'll be able to grab a copy of Graffiti Mural. And Love Changes. Now, Love Changes, woo, woo, woo. Love Changes took me, I want to say 12 years to write and publish, because it took a number of years to get permission to license music content from 18 music publishers. So I had to track them down and reach out to the ones that were overseas, get their information from ASCAP and BMI, to mail them registered mail and have them complete a contract saying I could use the lyrics. And it was a process. It was a process. But with me entering my passion for writing as a songwriter, I was an aspiring songwriter. There was something painful about the thought of quoting a song lyric and not giving the author credit for their song lyric. That was painful to me. Understanding that I wanted to write songs and create music myself, I decided to go about it in the way that a traditional publishing house would go about it, and even if it took a little bit longer. And music itself had inspired me to write the story. So I was adamant about including song lyrics in the publication. Now, for this larger print edition, I pulled the song lyrics out of this one for the plain simple fact that I had to pay to license song lyrics, and there was a finite quantity of how many copies would be available. So with that being the case, I did the larger print version of Love Changes without the song lyrics, which I could have done initially, but initially I couldn't even get the story out of my head without leaning on my passion for music. So that was part of my journey. And I know from experience and from being connected to a family of writers, we're all passionate, and our passion is fueled by different things. Some of us, our passion is fueled by our culture. Some of us, our passion is fueled by our families and our upbringing and our family legacies. And when this gift lands on us, it's up to us to use our gift to the best that we can to record and preserve elements of the culture and our cultural upbringing. I know for me, I was inspired by a whole bunch of things, including the fact that I was from New York City Housing Authority projects buildings. I lived in Mitchell houses, I lived in Millbrook houses, and I went to Catholic school, St. Jerome's. And whereas Catholic school and St. Jerome's had fostered my love of books, and we had these little cute little books, reading level books. A duck is a duck, seven is heaven, and may I come in, and they went according to our reading level. And as soon as we finished one book, they would advance us to the next book. And the funny thing about St. Jerome's is, depending on how well we read, they would just give us the next book, regardless of um, what other kids were doing. So if I was an excellent reader and I was reading through these books rapidly, or more rapidly than anyone else, then they would just give me the book that was supposed to be for the second grade and a book that was supposed to be for the third grade. So I was in the first grade, and within 2 months of the first grade, I was on the third grade reader. And as that turned, as the clock moved forward, by the time I was in the fourth grade, I was reading on the 11th grade level. And my teacher had me reading Edgar Allan Poe. And my favorite story of all stories was The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. And I was 9 years old. Um, and, you don't see where those experiences would lead you as a child. Well, I remember reading Edgar Allan Poe in my children's Bible. So I had a big thick children's Bible like this, and I used to love the children's Bible stories with the pictures and the cartoon depictions, and it was just wonderful. Loved it, and mine was like white, thick, about this thick, and it was gold trimmed. And then my copy of Edgar Allan, the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, was my nana's leather bound copy. I think it was she had Henry David Thoreau, Edgar Allan Poe, and I forget who that third author was. It was either like Ernest Hemingway, or might have been Mark Twain. I don't even remember who the third one was, but it was three of them. And Edgar Allan Poe, I read that book until it fell apart, and it was leather bound, and it might have been from like the 40s. It was thick leather, and it was just well made. And but I laid on that floor and read that book until it fell apart. The Raven was my favorite poem by Edgar Allan Poe. The Telltale Heart was my favorite short story by Edgar Allan Poe. And I remember hearing as a child of his battle with opium, and I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand it. Um, couldn't understand it at all. But I noticed that his stories were weird. You know, um, like weird in a sense, like Ichabod Crane and the Headless Horseman, because we read, if I'm not mistaken, the Headless Horseman before we got into Edgar Allan Poe. So, it was interesting, and it's amazing how um, being introduced to someone who has a passion for books when you are a child is like putting fertilizer on your book brain. So I had an aunt, my aunt Renee, who just loved books, loved books. And it always bothered me that she didn't have a book with a Black woman on the cover. And I remember making a promise to her when I was like 5 years old. I said, one day I'm going to write a book just so you can read it and put a Black lady on the cover, because it didn't make sense to me that my Aunt Renee was gorgeous. She was a fashion model. She was very dark skinned and had a huge afro and big eyes. And she was just gorgeous, 6 foot tall almost. maybe 5'11" and a half, but she was gorgeous. She was tall, a fashion model, dark skin, big, gorgeous afro. And I would watch Soul Train and see beautiful black people on Soul Train sing James Brown, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Look at my gorgeous model of an aunt who was also a fashion model. And then the white people on the covers of the books. That just kind of, it just messed with my head a little bit. Like, wait a minute. Why are there no black people on the books? Is it because black people don't write books? Right. And I had to kind of analyze that. And I'm like, wait a minute. If I'm 4 or 5 years old and I'm smart enough to read a book, then I know somebody black has had to have written a book. Where are all the black books in the world? And there, black people were publishing books, but they were scarce. They were hard to find. If you were in the Bronx in the 1970s, you might not be able to name a black author in the 1970s. There was Alex Haley. And when I say Roots is thick, I got a copy of Roots. Roots about that thick. There was a Nikki Giovanni, of course. There was Maya Angelou. There was Sarah Elizabeth Wright. There was Lorraine Hansberry, Audre Lorde, John Oliver Killens, Rosa Gee. There were all of these black writers and authors who were publishing books. But the caveat is I know about them now because I'm a member of the Harlem Writers Guild. When I was 6, 7 years old, going to the public library asking, where are your books by black authors? They pointed me to the Dewey Decimal System and index cards with type on it. So I didn't have the luxury of knowing that this particular book, even though this is my book, but I didn't have the luxury of saying, wow, there's a black woman on the cover. Wow, there's a black picture on the back of the book. Wow, that book might be written by a black person. Yes, she is a black author. No, they, and I used to watch Like It Is, but in watching Like It Is, I was not aware that Nikki Giovanni had books. It just didn't connect. I would see her in conversation, and then as a child, the conversation was always over my head. I was Scooby-Doo on the brain. So it's an interesting journey for black women who love books, who grew up Gen X when I grew up, where the literature for us was not front and center, was not presented to us to read, to see, to buy. And the book orders that we received and the material that we received that we could order, book club books, no black authors. There were no black books, no black people on the covers. It was the same thing, so I read the books that I had access to, just like my Aunt Renee, and I read a lot of books. I read a lot of books, and then I also learned that books don't just have stories. Books have access to skills that you want to learn. So you could teach yourself a few things from a book. One of the things I taught myself from a book, just one of them, was basic programming. Beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code. I was coding in BASIC from 10 years old. I was gifted a Atari 800 computer, and I had books on how to code my Atari 800 computer to play video games. And the Graphics were crude, they were ugly. It was just basically dots and, and characters conforming together to look like a playing card, or to make an image like it's crazy looking. Basically, it was crazy looking, but um, I would sit there for weeks and weeks and weeks and plug away to make this simple thing play blackjack. And it was all from a book, and the program was coded in the book, and I had to type it character by character. And if you missed one letter off or one number off, would throw the whole thing off. So it took a lot of patience. And that's the patience that later benefited me when it came to writing and publishing books. And here we go again, coming back to the Schomburg Literary Festival. Um, I'm just one author. There are going to be authors all over the place. Authors all over the place talking about their books on all genres. I write women's fiction. There are going to be people there that write mystery. There are going to be people there that write essays, political essays. There are going to be people there who do self-help books, cookbooks, and books in every category possible. And you get to meet the people, you get them to autograph your book, you get to take pictures of the author and the author's books, and find out about the next book and what they're working on and where they're going to be. And some authors may be willing to definitely sign a book. Authors love to sign a book. Um, and it's like a huge thank you when we can sign a book for someone that wants to read and that loves to read. Um, yeah, because if your book took you 5, 10 years to write, then you want to see someone enjoy it, and you want to know that your dedication to follow through is going to benefit someone else. And it's not always about the windfall of cash that comes rolling in, because sometimes the windfall doesn't come through the way you expect it. It's about doing what inspires you to help inspire others. And that's what the writing journey has been about for me. And I was very fortunate to find the Harlem Writers Guild through Grace F. Edwards and a workshop at the Frederick Douglass Creative Arts Center. Now, I encourage those who are interested in writing. The Frederick Douglass Creative Arts Center is no longer here with us, but the Schomburg Library has programming all year round. So if you join their mailing list, when those emails come through, RSVP, and you can be in the audience of a main stage event, of a film series. You'll be notified when there are workshops coming through the library. And the Schomburg Library is very unique in that they go above and beyond to infuse our culture into the programming. So it's very specific, and it's very nurturing, culturally nurturing, and it's in the right place. It's right across from Harlem Hospital, right smack in the middle of Harlem. And had I known that just across the bridge from where I was living and where I was going to school, because St. Jerome's is literally in walking distance from the Schomburg Library. But as a child, I was not aware that that library had Black books. And that was not something that was told to me by the librarians at the time. At the time, it was there were few. Well, in the library, right in the district of 10454, there were, I don't remember any Black librarians. Not that I recall. So when I told them I was looking for an author by a Black book, an author with a Black book, they told me to, go look up there for a Black. No, and I was looking for a Black person in the book or a Black person on the cover. They said, well, you can go look upstairs. They have picture books upstairs. So I was never directed, never advised, never given the names of authors that I should follow. Um, I I was pointed to the card catalog system, and that's kind of disappointing. At least it was disappointing to me at age 7. But what I will do is read an excerpt now from Love Changes, and this comes from chapter 3. Can we switch mothers? Dawn told her about the keys, huh? Ramel laughed. I know he thought I was stupid for telling her. Dawn's mouth was bigger than her behind. But with all my girlfriends out of state and me with no long distance carrier, who else would I call about girl stuff, Mommy? I sucked my teeth. Are you a psychic friend? Nah, my advice is free. Next time, save yourself the trouble. Tell your mom from the get go, like I suggested. Whose side are you on? Chocolate, when it comes to you and your family, I blow the whistle and wear the stripes. Now, hold on, I have someone else in the other line. The phone line clicked twice, but the call switched back to me. Ramel's voice had turned to syrup. Yeah, Cosma, like I was saying, I feel real bad. I really do, because you and I have a lot of fun together. But I've got to be honest, we don't have much in common. So I guess I cut Ramel off, doing my best to imitate his voice, but sounding more like Cookie Monster. It's best that we just be friends. I got a chuckle out of him, so I kept it up. The last thing I want to do is waste your time. I still like us to hang out once in a while if that's okay with you. I closed by saying, and the Oscar goes to. Ramel's voice was just above a whisper, but it had bass. That combination could lull me right to sleep or wake me up from it. Even though I didn't sound a bit like him, I knew I had the script down cold, because he was still laughing when he said, trust me, Chocolate, if I ever give you something stiff, bare naked, and about that size, it won't be an Oscar. Now, knock it off. She won't buy it unless I'm composed. I never bought into any of his flirting. Ramel and I were just friends. Actually, Ramel was my closest friend, an investment banker, big and built, bald, brown, and dimpled. He was a mess. Not only did he collect women like he did luxury timepieces, he remained unattached and had absolutely no time for sisters. He even had the nerve to have very specific tastes. His type was blue eyed with big lips, hips, boobies, and black girl booty, courtesy of Stairmaster. Ramel was back on the line with me sooner than I expected. Okay, what's the story? Do you want the whole story or the abbreviated version? The truth, Chocolate. Don't add any plot twists or cliffhangers. Just tell me what happened. I know how you are. Well, first of all, Mommy showed up here unannounced and uninvited. She didn't even bother to say hello, right? She just pushes past me, grunting and complaining. You look tired. This place is disgusting. And I'm trying to be nice. I'm like, hi, Mommy. You look great. Would you like something to drink? She ignores me walking all through here like she owns the place, turning her nose up at everything. Okay, that's nothing new. Wait. Let me finish. It gets better. She snatches Tebow from me and starts yelling. He looks horrible. What kind of mother are you? You ain't doing nothing for his rash. And then she hauls off and slaps me. And then she starts calling Spider all kinds of broke bums while she is holding my baby. So I take him back and put him back in the room, and Mommy is snatching him, and we are having this tug of war with my baby. Junior is finally screaming at the top of his lungs. Finally, I pry him from her vice grip, And it's to take him back in the room and calm him down. And I come back and mommy is shaking me like a 2-year-old, pointing to the mirror saying, look at you. You busted. Ain't no man ever gonna marry you. I don't know why I wasted my money on your education. You ain't nothing but a fool. Whoa. Time out. Ramel whistled. Chocolate, come on now. That's foul. What? You think I'm lying? I know you're lying. I'm trying to find a nugget of truth in this gold mine of yours. I'm telling you the truth, Ramel. Mommy slapped me right in my face. No way. What did you say to her for real? Nothing. I was going out my way to be nice. All I said to her was that she looked good and I asked her if she wanted something to drink. That's it. Mommy just went nutty cuckoo for no reason. I'm lucky she ain't bruised my face. Why don't you come over here so I can kiss your boo-boo? I don't know where your lips been. You in that mouth. Now I know you said something to your mom. I'm sorry. I'm upset. Can't you tell I'm upset? She slapped me, Ramel. And that's not all. When I told mommy I gave Tebow Smider's last name, she really went ballistic. She flipped my glass table over and almost broke it. Why would his name upset her like that? I promised mommy that he would have our last name until Spider and I got married. Okay, so why doesn't he? Because of you? Doesn't it sound familiar? I'm having a baby and I'm naming him Tobiah Love. You can't buy love. Mamel laughed. He stopped, and a few seconds later, he repeated himself. You can't buy love. And laughed even harder. Hello, I'm dying here. Just as I said that, Tebow stirred in his cradle, tightening his little fist and scrunching his diaper bottom. I peeked over. He didn't wake. Sad to say, but Tebow was used to the noise because I tend to get loud at times. He wasn't a light sleeper, but now I knew the volume was getting too loud for him. I took a deep breath, held it in for a moment, and then continued. Don't you get it, Ramel? I'll be 26 years old. How would you feel if your mother bars into your apartment and slapped you up? That made him burst out all over again. This time I understood. That thought was ridiculous. Mrs. Goodwin wouldn't smack a roach off the wall. But still, waiting for his laughter to die down, I was getting aggravated. Are you done? Okay. Maybe your mom was extreme, but you know as well as I do that Miss Ann has the gift of gab. She tells it like it is. And I'm sure if you think back on what she said, you'll realize she was right. Here's what you really need to do. I didn't hear a thing he had to say after that. I placed the phone back in the cradle. It was the beginning of summer, but that didn't matter. I dragged a heap of boots to my side, grabbed one of my ankle boots, and slapped some polish on it. There are two things in this world I never got from Ramel were sex and sympathy, so I should have known better. Gift of gab. Mommy's gift of gab was packed with sarcasm, wrapped with an I told you so, and tied with a string of reminders of all the things I should have done. So I expected that from her, but Ramel should have known me well enough to know that this was no time to agree with her. And that's an excerpt from Love Changes. Yeah, I call Love Changes my first book baby. Took me about 4 years to write the first draft. Then I was inspired by Verizon and the call center at Verizon. I was halfway done with it, and I was halfway done writing Love Changes, but in the process of giving up writing, and I had given my aunt like a pile of pages, half a manuscript. And I gave her half a manuscript, and she said, I want to read it. I want to see what you're doing. I want to read it. Right. And I said, well, I don't even know if it's any good. Right. I said, I don't even know if it's any good. This whole thing is frustrating. But I will print the pages out and I will send you what I have, and you tell me if it's good. And my aunt called me about a month later, and I said, "Aunt Carol, how's the book? What you think? What you think?" She goes, "Girl," I said, "Well, did you read it?" She goes, "No, I didn't read it." And I said, "You didn't read it all this time?" She goes, "I sat it at my cubicle, and before I knew it, one of my coworkers had a few pages, and another coworker had a few pages, and everybody in the department is reading it, and they fighting over the pages." She said, "So everybody has read the first half but me, and everybody's now telling me or asking me, where's the rest of it?" So when Aunt Carol said that to me, I had to come out of before I start retirement, and I had to finish Love Changes. Um, so it was a painful journey, um, and I love that the readers were taken by the characters. I love that the readers fell in love with the characters. Um, I love that the readers could relate to parts of the story, or could see themselves in the story, or could see people that they know in the story, or are reminded, or the characters are reminding them of people they know in their own personal lives. So that part of it is a joy, as well as it is in writing the story, because the gift of writing feels like dancing. When you love to dance to music and the right music is on, writing can give you that same aesthetic, that same feel. Um, so um, I love when what I write also inspires the person who purchases the book, who reads the book, who circles back to leave a review, who calls me up to tell me that they love the book and they want me to appear at an event to meet other readers and talk about the book to a different audience. These are the things that keep authors writing, and these are the things that keep us encouraged and inspired. So, one, I want to extend a thank you to the Harlem Writers Guild and Harlem Writers Guild members who have listened to my book baby ideas while they were in development, and who encouraged me when the writing was stale, flat, or not quite right. They've given me direction of, okay, well, this part is good and that's good, and this is, we need community as writers, because writing itself is lonely work, and to have a writing family is is a beautiful blessing. And so far as having a family of other creatives who know exactly what it is that you're experiencing when you're going through your writing process, and you're dedicating yourself to the craft. It's an easier journey when you share it with someone else. So I'm grateful for that, and grateful for the Harlem Writers Guild. Um, Grateful for my family members who've supported me throughout the years, who've read the wrinkled up, folded, crumpled pages that I probably carried in my purse, and who supported me at the events that I'm a part of, who come from different parts of the country to support, who come from different parts of the state, different states to support, and who, especially my family members, who have welcomed me and allowed me to stay with them when I'm in a different state at an event. It's that writer lifestyle, book tour, even when it's all self promotion and you're doing it all on your own as an independent. It's grueling, and it's a commitment that you won't realize you love until you already love it. And that's the best way to explain it. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. If you're following me, please subscribe to Soul City Network. Um, we're on YouTube at Soul City Network. We are on Facebook, so you can follow Soul City Network at Facebook, and we can follow me at Eartha Tone all across social media. At Eartha Tone, EARTHATONE, and that's on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Goodreads. I'm at Eartha Tone. So, connect with me across social media. And if you have any questions about writing, about the craft of writing, send me an email to earthatone@gmail.com. I'll be happy to circle back and answer some of those questions on the air. And yeah, thank you. And thank you, Leverage Your Credit Recovery. I see you. Thank you so much. So if you have any questions about craft and technique and sharing your stories, send an email to earthatone.com or drop me a message. Like this video if it encourages you, if it inspires you. Like this video, share, and I hope to see you at the Schomburg Library, Schomburg Center for Research and Culture. It's on 135th Street, across from Harlem Hospital, and the Schomburg Literary Festival itself will be running along 135th Street from Lenox Avenue until 8th Avenue. Also, my book, Love Changes, is available in the Schomburg Bookshop. So you can buy it there at the Schomburg Shop. You can buy it from me on the strip on Saturday. I'll autograph it for you. You can also find Eartha Tone books at Sisters Uptown Bookstore, located on the corner of, it's 154th Street in Amsterdam. And if it's not 154th Street in Amsterdam, it's 156th Street. But it's right on the corner on Amsterdam Avenue, Sisters Uptown Bookstore and Cultural Center. They are also online, and they also have an Instagram. So I will look forward to seeing you, hopefully, on Saturday. And there are a couple more events coming up. If I'm not mistaken, there's the Harlem Book Fair. This year is August 29th. Harlem Week is the week before that, if I'm not mistaken. And there is also, Philadelphia. There's a book fair in Philadelphia. I believe that is August 8th. So, summer is book season. Books on the beach, books on the plane, books on the train, books everywhere, because it's nice and hot. And if you got a moment to rest, there's no better way to just sit back, rest, and relax and read a book. So for all you book lovers, hey, this is my book. And if there's a book you would like for me to know about, to read, because I love reading, and I read mine 1,000 times, hey, send me a book suggestion. I love to read too. So thank you for joining me. Good morning, community. And if you have a story that you would like to share, drop us a line, follow us, subscribe, and reach out and let us know. And, maybe you could be our next guest on Good Morning Community. My name is Eartha Watts Hicks. And thank you. Thank you for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Goodbye for now, and thanks again.
We are the sons and daughters of the soul. We are resilient and forever forward thinking. We We ask for nothing else than the opportunity to live and to create the lives that we were meant to live. We want nothing but an equal chance at options and possibilities. The same possibilities and options to live out our potential as our fellow man. We want to be heard, understood, and expressive in our reality. We are the future. We are the creative. We are here.